Hey, you guys, we are back again this Tuesday, and today we are talking about these janky church folk. The church community, they up here wilding out on these internet streets. So we need to talk about it.
We
And
gotta
I do
talk
have
about
some
it.
guests. You guys want to introduce yourselves?
Okay, I can't start. Well, my name is Diane. I also go by King Petty LaBelle.
On these TikTok streets.
Yes.
And hi, y'all. I've been on here before. I'm Amanda, aka Miss Anlin Diva. I am also on TikTok under that name and other platforms as well. I'm thankful to be back.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, we always have a good time when we be doing these little conversations. So yeah, this episode we are talking about the church and patriarchy. I feel like they are like a gateway into patriarchy. And we're talking about if excuse me, we're talking about if it's beneficial to Black women to still invest in organized religions based on
Well,
what we're seeing from these Christian folk.
after the videos that's come out within the last week, it's just like I know what I was raised under, and I know the people who have kind of set the stone in my life personally. Where if I needed to reach out to somebody for guidance, I have those options. But that doesn't mean I got to be sitting in somebody's church every Sunday and prayer meeting every Wednesday and choir rehearsal every Saturday. I don't have to do all that. So I don't know if it's beneficial because I know one of the videos you're gonna play is the TDJ's video. Um it's just some of the comments was really disheartening because it's just like women, especially Black women who've invested, especially into a platform like what TDJs have, you're pretty much saying like it was disheartening to watch, like his misogyny just come out live like that.
Oh, my mic was on mute. It did come out, and you know what I was thinking? Like you were saying in the last podcast, we grew up watching TD Jakes. Like you
Right,
see him on TV, he wrote all these books. It's not that I necessarily like looked up to him, but it's like these are like this is the church community, so you're not used to seeing. It's like a fall from grace type of thing, so you're not used to seeing that from them, and you still hold them up to a high standard, even if you're not part of that community anymore.
right.
But last night I was having a talk, and like, because they were saying I was watching somebody on YouTube, and they were saying how he trying to step into the place of Kitten Hills and fill his shoes now that he gone and blah blah blah. Well, a lot of them are right, a lot of them are. But I was like, you know what? That is how powerful now social media is, and these podcasts are, and that even TD Jakes, with his old behind, can be influenced to take some of what's going on in himself. I mean, he could have always felt this way too, but
Right.
irregardless if he felt this way or he's starting to consume information and take on those ideals, you felt comfortable enough now to get up there and say those things. Because I think like if this was 10 years ago or even 5 years ago, he
He wouldn't
wouldn't
have did that.
have even that wouldn't even been your sermon.
Yeah, he wouldn't have did that.
Mm-mm.
What you think, Diane?
Well, honestly, first of all, like I never subscribed to organized religion. Like my mother was Christian, and but she never had us in like the church like that. So uh, I don't have the perspective like you have, Amanda, because I was never really raised up in that. But the one thing that I can say is like what turns me off about all of that, like what TD Jake said, does not surprise me. I don't think that they are necessarily, they don't really keep up with the times and how things are different, and they kind of just stay stagnant and in thinking how things should be one way, especially when it comes to like the whole like male patriarchy thing. Like I just never, I was never like sort of, I just never really saw that, you know, watching the dynamics between my mom and my dad. I mean, I guess I did. I guess they were kind of old fashioned like that because both my parents were boomers. So,
Mm.
but yeah, I what he said didn't really surprise me. Um, I wasn't shocked at all by it.
I think I was caught off guard how like determined he was by what he said and stood firm on what he said, as if he didn't have daughters.
Mm-hmm.
Because it came off like, oh, my daughters can be successful black women, but the rest of y'all,
Right. The
we
rest of
don't
y'all.
care about your education. We raised the women to be men, he said. And my reply on TikTok was like, but who was raising the men? Sir, you missed the mark. Because you've been in this platform since I was a child and I'm 35.
Mm-hmm.
You missed the mark.
Well, to me, it all seems like we are coming into a time now where women's rights are slowly being, you know, taken away. And what he said just basically fed into that, like taking us
Right.
back to a period of like the 50s and the 60s and stuff like that, where, we want our women barefoot, pregnant in the kitchen and, being submissive to everything that we want. So I think it just, what he said just kind of spoke to how the times are slowly reverting back to that. So, like, nothing is surprising to me in 2022.
Okay, so I did pull up a clip of what he said just before he said what he said about the women. So I'm gonna play that one first so that we can be fair and listen to what he said before it got to that point.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm trying to figure out who gonna come out next. Y'all think Jamal Bryant gonna say something?
So somebody gonna say something next.
If Jamal say something, I'm gonna die. I'm just gonna go ahead and tell you. I think Jamal needs to sit this one out.
I swear.
I personally think everybody should just really shut up.
Agreed, because it's just like
I'm so sick of everybody's mouth.
the suffering that they want women to go through if they don't have a man is just really weird to me.
Y'all, my computer won't work now.
Oh Lord, it was just working.
I don't know. Let me see. Maybe it's my
Here we go.
I don't think that's the one. Is it? Yeah, this is by Double Minority. That's the other one. Let me do it again.
Mm-mm.
Be careful about pouring too much into us.
Yes, Pastor.
We are designed to pour into you. And you are designed to take what we pour into you and increase it and make it better. You increase it, you
I'm sorry.
appreciate it, and you multiply it. This breaks all sociological orders of the culture we're living in now because we are raising up women to be men.
Okay,
Women,
so
be careful about
Hold on.
pouring too much into us. We are designed to pour into you.
Then why aren't you?
my thing is when he's saying that we are raising our women to be men, basically, I mean, have you seen like the men out here? Like, you won't allow, especially when it comes to black women, you don't allow us to rest in our femininity. So we have to, like, always be the strong ones. Like, you, like, just going back thinking about like men right now, it's like you literally like procreate with us and then decide that you don't want to be with us, and then you go off with Becky Sue because she could be that submissive person for you, thus leaving us to be the mothers and the fathers in our household. So when are we ever allowed to be able to rest in our like femininity when we have to play both roles in the home? I think you should really shut the fuck up.
Well, so here's my thing to the beginning part. which was why I muted my microphone because I be going off. When he said, we be careful who you pour into if you're not pouring into yourself. So when I first heard that, I was like, oh, self-preservation. That's what I thought. And it was like, we pour into you and you take it and you multiply. But if you're pouring nothing but hell and trash, what do you think you're going to get?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think is going to happen if every time you speak to that woman, you are degrading her, you are demeaning her, you are breaking her down mentally and emotionally? Because a lot of these men, and they won't speak on this, a lot of these men think that they're good men because they haven't physically put their hands on a woman, even though they have broken women mentally, emotionally, financially,
spiritually.
spiritually. Yeah. Some of them go after women just to break their spirit. So to say you're raising the women to be men, what were you, like in my video, what were you teaching the men? Because there's too many absentee fathers for these men to be like, well, my daddy wasn't there for me. So do you don't be there for your kids? What were you teaching the children? Where were the outreach programs for these boys that are now these podcasters we have now?
Right. I had high hopes for him. Like when I first, like you said, when he was like, okay, don't just be letting any dude pour into you. I was like, okay, he about to say what? Yeah, no, you disappointed me. You fell flat because then you was like, oh, because we're supposed to pour into you. But like the point you just made, but what are you pouring into us if we have nothing to work with? Like if I have nothing to work with and we have not had Black women, nothing, anything, barely a crumb to work with for quite some time. Like it's like because whoever said like y'all didn't listen to everything he said because this was a Father's Day speech and he was addressing the men. Like I don't
How
see
was he
that
addressing the men saying we're raising women to be men?
And even this pouring into like you skipped over their issue and headed straight into trying to chastise women.
And bring down their education and bring down the fact that they can buy their own houses.
Yeah, because like he sounded like a Dusty when he was saying that stuff. Like, I don't care about your house and your car. At that moment, I didn't see this man the same anymore.
But okay, you don't care about their house or their education or their cars. But then you say you want a woman that got her own. But in y'all's mind, y'all are competing with the women who have their own in some fictitious competition that we did not start because we were told by the grandmas, aunties, and mamas, hey, make sure you're able to sustain on your own. So even if and when you do get married, if things go left, you can still survive by yourself. That didn't come just from nowhere from the grandmas. They came from grandmas who couldn't get checking accounts, who couldn't get house loans, who had to stay with a man that had a family across the town.
Mm-hmm.
And because she had no other options. They keep bringing up, well, marriages don't last no longer. Legally, the women couldn't do nothing. What was they supposed to do? Let their kids suffer and struggle? Because it comes back to they are mad that we are not struggling in the capacity they think we should be struggling.
And exactly, like they're not telling, like they always want to compare, just to piggyback off what you were saying, Amanda, or what I'm thinking that you were saying, is that they want to always compare like modern day relationships to the grandmas and grandpas and things like that, not knowing that grandpa only stayed with Papa because Papa was spreading his seed and having a whole other family with the lady across the street, and Mima only stayed with him out of literal survival. Papa put grandma through literal and physical, emotional hell to the point where I don't even think like, and I'm speaking on my grandmother because that's what my grandfather did, and to the point where when he died in 2002, I don't think she shed a tear at all.
And most
of them don't. It was more of like a sigh of relief that he was gone.
And most of them don't.
Like she got her freedom papers with his death certificate.
Right.
They never asked their grandmas were they happy.
They don't ever want to tell the real truth about what was really going on between them, or during those times where she was staying at home raising the kids and he's, out drinking at the rib shack, hitting off losers and stuff like that. They don't ever want to discuss what it was really, really like.
But most of them never asked their grandmas. Most of them never asked their grandmas.
But none of us.
They don't really care.
They not slow. Y'all know it wasn't a walk in the park. Y'all know y'all granddaddy, y'all daddy, y'all uncle. Y'all know they was hell. Y'all know they was raised in hell. So why do y'all try to paint a picture like, oh, y'all ain't like the women back in the day, and I need me this. But what about you?
Right. Grandma the one telling us to make sure we got our own, so that in the event y'all go left or you wake up and you got different feelings and you don't want me no more, I can still sustain by myself.
Yep, because I seen it firsthand in my family. I had an auntie, she done passed on now, Lord rest her soul. But she was with a man and she moved in with him. Everything was in his name. Everything. The house, the car,
No.
every bill was in his name. And she was doing good, he was taking care of her. Then one morning she woke up and he was like, you know what? You are replaceable. You are dismissed, and
Wow,
she was left with absolutely nothing with two daughters.
nothing.
That's what I'm saying.
That's such a level of vulnerability that I don't
Right.
think I could ever allow myself to be under because that
Never.
gives me literal anxiety.
They
And
have
I
never made a
remember
safe space for us.
and I remember my father saying, like, when I was becoming a teenager, and he was like, all right, when you go out on a date, make sure you always bring $20 with you on the date, so you go to a payphone and call someone if you need to call someone. Like, he was low-key telling me, because my father was a
Mhm.
misogynist too, but he was low-key telling me the
The
game.
game.
Yeah, make sure you have your a way home.
Yeah. Make sure you get home.
Yeah.
He just, I don't know. One of the black lady TikToker brought up, they were like, oh yeah, y'all women need to listen to him. And then she brought up the fact how he vetted his daughter's husbands
Yeah.
and how they both ended up being trash. So if you're being vetted by one of the biggest black pastors in our community, and that man still picked trash ass men for his own daughters, what are we talking about here?
Because women aren't the issue.
Well, we know that.
And it's like,
Hmm.
to me, at the end of the day, it's like, y'all don't even know. I'm sorry if I be cussing or whatever. I don't know. I just, cussing is my, like, first language. But y'all don't even know what the hell y'all be wanting half the time. Like, you say you want a woman that could go out and get money on her own. Like, I don't want no broke bitch. I don't want to be taken
No
care of, no
gold
fun
digger.
bitch. And then when that woman exceeds that, she get her own car, she has a place, she has money, she has education. Oh, what, bitch, you trying to show me up? You think you better than
Better than
me?
me.
Now they in competition mode and they salty about it and they resentful.
There's a TikTok. This man made a comment on a black woman's post, and she's a teacher. And he was like, yeah, y'all been competing with us ever since grade school. And she said,
What?
competing with whom, honey? The fact that you thought that the little girls in the fourth grade was competing with you to be better than you is very strange.
That's hilarious.
But like, I even thought back to high school. My whole graduating top 10 were all female but one. We didn't have to, we didn't even, we, in our mind at those times, because I think we're all around, the same age. It was, you better go to school, you better get decent grades. If you want to go to college, you better get good grades, and you better be walking across that stage and not embarrass your parents. You better be graduating. So I
Hmm.
don't understand where the competitiveness in their minds come from. It's very strange to me.
There was literally no competition.
There was literally no competition. We have never been competing with them
At all.
except for respect that they refuse to give and but demanding it from us.
Child. All right, let me
Girl,
play this. This is who is
it,
this?
before you play that, I just want to say, like, to me, this whole rant that he said, it sounded like a lot of his personal views was inserted in there, and nothing really from the word, because I don't know, I don't read the Bible. I mean, I gotta like skim through it, but
Hmm.
I don't recall there being any like chapters or anything that says we need to be subservient to our husband like that.
They don't want submission. They want subserviency.
Yeah, they want a servant in the home.
Or a roommate that pay half all the bills,
That you can
cooks,
hunch on
clean,
every
and they
once
can
in a
hunch on
while.
from time to time.
Hmm. Okay.
But you know. Let's say quite a few because we
Alright, so I saw this headline, but I didn't pay nearly enough attention to it. So let's talk about what Jake said, because again, between him and Kim Burrell, it's becoming clearly evident why so many are uncomfortable with organized religion. If you don't know who T.D. Jakes is, he is a mega pastor in the Black community, and he got up on the pulpit and went on this misogynistic rant where he said, "We are raising our women to be men." Roll the clip.
This breaks all sociological orders of the culture we're living in now. Because we're raising up women to be men. And you are not applauded for your femininity. You are applauded in the contemporary society by how tough, rough, nasty, mean, aggressive, hateful, possessive you are. And you're climbing the corporate ladder, but we are losing our families.
I mean, at this point, the jokes are...
I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're losing. All I said. Okay, I'm gonna tell y'all. Say what y'all gotta say, because I did write out what I said on Facebook when this first happened, and I'll tell y'all what I thought.
His rhetoric just then is pretty much every negative stereotype they have said about Black women for years, for decades. Rough, tough, this. Y'all climbing the ladder, but we losing our families. So the absentee fathers have nothing to do with that.
Mm-hmm.
The absentee fathers have nothing to do with losing what is supposed to be the Black family dynamic, the structure that was made under patriarchy, that was never meant to benefit the Black community to begin with. But y'all get a little bit of money and a little bit of what feels like a sense of false power, and you start saying rhetoric like this. He got daughters who work and have businesses and all the things.
Mm-hmm.
But is it okay for, Jake's daughters 1 and 2, because I can't remember everybody's name, it's okay for them to be bosses, but not the rest of us? The rest of us is destroying the Black family dynamic. Let him tell it. That was negative rhetoric that has been said about Black women, spewed about Black women who have chosen their careers and or started the businesses to be able to fund taking care of the children and protecting and providing for the Black community, because our men have come up short. You can't question femininity when you've never given us the safe space to do so.
So I'll just close by, saying this because, like I said before, it didn't surprise me in this day and age of stripping away women's rights and women identity and women's independence and things like that. This was nothing more than a red pill podcast package in religion.
Agreed.
Yeah, that's how I felt too.
So it doesn't surprise me. He's a boomer, I suppose. He's a misogynist for even thinking that, and a hypocrite for thinking his daughters, it's okay for them to have businesses and things, but thinking the rest of us is going to go ahead and follow suit and whatever. And then, like, for one, I don't like all of the things that he was saying in there was like it was vague criticisms towards Black women, because I don't know any white women who got offended by anything that he was saying, or if white women really even follow TD Jakes like that. Like his main congregation and his core audience is older
Black women.
So to me, that was just it was the same old misogynoir that we've been hearing on these internet streets, and TD Jakes could shut the entire fuck up. And that's all I gotta say about that.
Is your mic muted?
I'll be.
Hold on, it might have looped her out. She'll come back in.
Okay, but no, like I'm saying, it was all like vague. It was all geared towards Black women. Like he's trash. Again, I never get the whole organized religion thing anyway. So
I'm telling you that I know that when I was younger, that I'm pretty positive my mother and my sister went to Atlanta for a Woman Thou Art Loose, or went to Texas to his actual church. My dad, this is gonna sound bad. My dad's fourth wife had a whole room of bookshelves full of his tapes, books, everything. I ain't even like her, but she had a ton of stuff too. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of black women who were our mothers, aunties, or whatever the case may be, and that invested their time, their money, their energy, their effort, their spiritual welfare into this person, into their platform, into what they believed was good. But then for him to say, we are raising the women to be men. So what were you raising the men to be? Bums? Are you back?
Yes, I'm back. I don't know what happened to this thing. All right, so back. I lost my thought I was gonna say. Where did I leave off at?
We were
You know,
talking about where like his misogyny and the older black women in our community that have like invested into his ministry.
Yeah, it's just religious folk to me. Oh, it's definitely the boomers and the older black women for sure.
Mhm.
Like they got the church has a chokehold on them the worst.
Absolutely.
But
yes, absolutely.
there is also churchgoers and devotees that are around our age group, or 40s or whatever, 30s, and I feel like it somewhat blinds them because y'all have been indoctrinated for so long to wholeheartedly have faith in this text, this religious text, by the way, that like y'all was touching on. It's like it doesn't even mesh and fit into a modern world anymore, a modern society where now, like you guys said, we have the ability to make our own way. We have the ability to move around. Before, we couldn't even work. We had to ask permission to do certain things. We couldn't even buy a house on our own.
Right.
And that religious that y'all follow is not even taking account into that. Not only that, it's like almost putting y'all out to the pasture because they preach about this purity, the purity culture,
Which
and
is
the
crazy.
modesty. And you have women out here that just really are not being hit. Like it's like me sending my girls out into the world and not making sure they are equipped to know how men are. There you
Right.
go. Go out there, y'all gonna find your fairy tale husband and everything's gonna be great. Just listen to everything he says. Cook and
Thank you
clean,
for saying that.
be a good housewife, and you'll do what? Like what?
Thank you for
I
saying
think
that because
it's fun.
a part of me has always felt like, did we get set up for the okie doke? Because I just
So
knew I'd
did.
be married by 25 and my
So
first
did.
child before 30. Like, I just knew.
Yeah.
I
Mm.
did. I did get married at the age of 25, and I'm now getting divorced. So
Right.
it's just like, all of that shit making you feel like you need to get married. You can't be a mother out of wedlock. You need to go ahead and get married. You need to
Mhm.
go ahead and do all that shit. It's bullshit. Look at the kind of man that I ended up with. Like, I ain't trying to make this all about him or whatever, but he's a piece of shit. And like, it's bullshit. You're sending your kids out here, especially your little girls, like you said,
Mhm.
completely unprepared of how the real world
Well, actually,
really works.
Yeah, and it's like
And
a lot. Did you watch those cult documentaries on Netflix? Oh my God. And it was like what they
Christianity
was
is their
doing to
cult.
these kids, especially the girls, especially because it's like they was literally raising the boys up to be predatory
correct.
and prey and manipulate the girls. And the girls they didn't even make the girls aware of how their bodies function and about sex.
Right.
So
But,
their husband takes them, and he knows because he ready for whatever. And she just thinking, la la la, I just got married, it's gonna be
oh, he
great.
loves
He's
me.
taking you
He's so in
into
love with me.
then he takes her into this room, and she don't even know what's about to go down in that room. I
I
think that's just such a set. It's just I don't like that.
Yeah, the problem that I have, and even if you go back and watch the when you said that, what popped in my mind was season one of Bridgerton. where she wasn't even aware of what was going on with her body. She just knew that she had to be on display to be able to have a husband. She knew that she couldn't be seen with this man alone, or she'll be viewed as tainted. And then once they got intimate or whatever the case may be, and she figured out what he was doing and what he wasn't doing, she was devastated. She was devastated. But then even if you think back to then, that girl was young. If we going based off like text.
Oh yeah, she was young.
Yeah. She was, Daphne was young, even though we know she an adult because it's a scripted show. But back in those days, they were marrying off children. And unfortunately, with them trying to take rights, that's what it looks like they're trying to head back towards. Oh, we need to impregnate these children and force them to have these kids and force them to be able to completely depend on us because these older ones, ooh,
right,
they doing too much. We don't want to encourage too much education. We don't want to encourage too much independence. You need to still be cooking, cleaning, serving, and screwing. I think a clip from The Real popped up where Adrienne Bailon and Jenny Ma was like, well, when you're with your husband, you should date, keep it spicy so that he doesn't cheat on you. And Tamar said, girl, you can do it all. Yes, a clip just resurfaced before. This was when Tamar was still on the show. Tamar was like, you can do it all. You can cook, clean, do tricks in the bedroom, pay his bills, rub his feet. If he gon' cheat, he gon' cheat.
Definitely.
It don't matter if you switch the wigs and play different characters and keep it spicy. You can do all of those things, and he's still gonna go cheat on you with somebody basic.
Yeah. Because men just have an insatiable need to just stick their penis in anything. And when I mean they stick their penis in anything,
Shut up, Diane.
And I'm not gonna talk about me next monster. I'm just saying they really do.
So anyways, let me read what I said about Mr. Ashy TD. He wants to have a podcast soon. I could just feel it.
Oh God.
He gonna like, I'm coming out with the TD Jakes podcast. Right. Tell you, he have a podcast soon. And he already lost like a whole bunch of members in his church. I read that yesterday. Like he lost like a third of his congregation or something. I don't know.
I'm sure.
Because they was not down with that. Yeah. So yeah, I just said, I quoted what he said: when women are not being led by men, it breaks the divine order. So I said, I find his choice of wording flawed and wrong. Divine order would be under whom standard a man's written oppressive religious text, because by universal divine order, woman would be God. We regard this earth in nature as the mother. After animals mate, some of them will kill off their donors. You are created by my womb. And lastly, it was you that were first female when your life journey began. And the oldest known bones that were found on earth was that of a woman. So divine order would not support the argument that you are superior to me, right, as the womb carrier. That's one. Then he was talking about this breaks off sociological order of the culture we're living in now, because we are raising up women to be men and you're not applauded for your femininity. Pause. Because femininity, divine feminine energy, that has nothing to do with me being feminine. Like, I didn't understand that. Like, people, you really got grown-ups who don't understand that me having a job, me being independent, me wanting to have an accomplishment or two of my own, me having dreams, me wanting to be my own person, that does not mean that I'm not feminine. But in their minds, oh, you don't want to cook and clean and slave for me?
No.
That's not feminine. Oh, and you talking back, and you have opinions, and I don't like to hear them. That's not feminine. Yeah, that's not feminine. You know what? This is what I'm talking about you black women. That's why I need hope. What they do
is not feminine.
Yeah.
What gets me is, let's just say we wasn't here, hypothetically. Wouldn't them fools still gotta cook and clean for their damn selves? Like, you still would have to survive.
They eating ramen noodles.
Hungry man dinner.
Yeah, they getting hungry man's in their freezer, ramen noodles. They might even fix a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I don't know.
Ooh, that's fancy.
Until you come along.
Excuse me, y'all. I still
See,
got
they
it.
use the
Can
holy
you
grail.
cook? I used to be like, can you cook? Just listen, I don't know. I looked up because every dude I ever talked to knew how to cook. I mean,
Oh,
I can cook, but I don't like being in the kitchen. My sister loved being in the kitchen. Me, no, I'm not baking. I like baking though. I like baking more than stovetop cooking. But I don't like being in the kitchen. So you needed to know how to cook.
right.
Or
Hmm.
you like starve around here.
That's like me. I could burn. I could cook. I could bake, and I like doing it too. I'm just not into giving wifey treatment to just basic niggas. So I'm just
Right.
that's not me.
And then every single day you expecting me to cook or do no, I don't think so. What days do you want to cook? That's my question. Well, you can cook too, right? What days are you cooking?
I don't know. They're weird. It's
Can
weird.
you clean? You know how to sweep? You know how to mop? Do you know how to wash your laundry? Okay, good.
But even I know me and Diane had this conversation where I've had people look at me crazy because I have this stepping stone when it comes down to my 7-year-old son. And like the other day, he did something and he was like, Mom, why can't you do it? I said, because I'm not your maid, son. I said, and regardless of what you think, I was like, you're not gonna find you a partner that is meant to wait on you hand and foot. You need to be able to care for yourself. So when I say take the broom and clean up your mess, go do that.
Mm-hmm.
And they looked at me like I was crazy. I was like, now you know daggone well he know how to put the food in his mouth. Sweep up your mess. Like it's weird to me how they try to act like your sole purpose, the fact that you don't have a man and you're not waiting on that man. How dare you decide that you want to go vacation without having to only be responsible for yourself? Like they're really telling women that they're not worthy if they're not procreating children and taking care of a man. But I'm raising a child now. I don't need another one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It was just a lot of fear that came out of what he was saying. Like, and then towards
Yeah.
the end, like y'all said, when he was saying, like, y'all destroy, like, telling us that
We
we're breaking
destroyed
up
the family
families,
dynamic.
that was like very strong. Like, wow, we're breaking up families now. I just seen like it was like an ego thing, and your
Right.
need. It just showed me how weak all of y'all can be. That you have this ego and the need to feel superior to me, superior to me, because you're insecure about me having something. Like, that is absolutely insane. You are insecure about a woman is threatening to you if she has something. Then the only way I could be a threat to you if I have something is because you was always trying to manipulate me to make sure
Right.
you had the upper hand, period. You
Hmm.
don't want me to have options out here. You want me to be stuck up under you.
Well,
Yeah.
just like little skinny dude from Fresh and Frog, Fresh and
Pressure
when
fraudulent.
Fresh and Fraudulent, yep. As soon as he got on that podcast with that white man and that white woman, and he said, oh, pretty much women should be single while men keep their options open. And that white woman was like, so what you're saying is she should only stick with you while you're still out here dating? He was like, yes, it's closed to her and open to me. And that woman laughed in his face. And then
Mhm.
that white man turned around and started talking and pretty much aired him out. And I did a reply, and TikTok took it down. I did a reply and was like, it's very weird that he didn't have that same energy for this white man and this white woman on this podcast the way that he do these younger 20 somethings that they've paid to be on their show, or the way that they're consecutively coming after black women at all times. You did not have that energy for that white man.
Nope.
Why? They want to have power under the plantation mindset, and it's very weird. And the fact that black women are saying, hey, I need to get the education, I need to get this certificate, I need to make sure the kid is straight, I need to make sure that I'm at work, this, let me get this book so that I can get this schedule, let me work on my peace of mind, let me accept that maybe marriage is not just for me. And because we're deciding to work on ourselves and do what's in the best interest for us and our kids and work through our trauma, we are not allowing them to be in this fictitious mindset of power up under this patriarchy and the plantation mindset.
That's what's like some of them will never get it because you are too old to be standing up there feeling so threatened by what
An
y'all was
educated woman.
you female.
Exactly.
Well, they'll call us females to insult us,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
to feel insulted by you females. But you
Mhm.
do, you was standing up there, it's like you showed your hand as okay. And then it's like to not know, talking about some if you can't create what he say, if you can't create a need for me, like I'd have no purpose for here in your life because I'm supposed to pour into you and you gotta create a need. Like, why don't you ask me? Why aren't y'all
Why don't
asking
y'all ever
us
ask?
what could I do for you? What can I do that will make you, I get it. Y'all want to feel like y'all are part, y'all have a place, y'all need it, etc. Blah, blah. Why not ask me that? Because most times we just need you to allow us our space.
Right.
I just want you to not see me as a threat and then do things that lets me know that you see me as a threat because now you know how they do. You're manipulating, you're gaslighting, you're taking little snide shots, you're acting in a way that lets me know that you're an insecure guy
Right.
instead of just embracing me for me and letting me do me and be who I am.
Yeah. And
I don't
also,
want to dumb myself down. I don't want to silence my voice. I don't want to stuff myself. I don't want to make myself smaller because you have to be so big. When
Correct.
we can, they are truly like the white people in our community. They truly are because it's like they feel so threatened. They're going to take over. Like we will never, and we will never take over. This
Right.
is a delusion of all men. Women will never be on top. Y'all have nothing to worry about. Y'all got patriarchy on lock, and it's females that buy into it. So, by all accounts, we're not taking over anytime soon. But just because we're making some little leeways that now is getting taken back,
Mhm.
y'all panties in a bunch.
yeah,
Mhm.
as long as they have like pick me women on their side, still rooting them on. We like you said, we will never be on top of anything. And I just feel like it's so funny how because he looked shook when he
Yeah,
was giving that thing. Like even with all your successes and your riches and everything, you still come up here and you preach something out of pure insecurity. And this just kind of reminded me of a situation that happened. So when I started working at the job that I was working for, I was there as just like a basic customer service representative, not making that great of money or whatever. But, I was working hard at my job and I really excelled at my job. And so I got promoted to a supervisor position and I started making really good money.
yeah.
And so after I got my promotion, my husband, my soon to be ex husband, felt very threatened by it. And he even said it like, you just think you're better than me now because you got that little funky ass promotion.
Like
Oh,
Wow,
it
it's
now
benefited
it's a
y'all's family.
funky ass promotion.
funky ass promotion that you're benefiting from eating on. Like I'm not taking care of you or anything like
Right.
that.
Oh my
Mm.
lord.
Mhm. That's what yeah. You think you are that now because yeah, and you're supposed to be a man. And you
Well, he
can't
never
even
was,
support
so
me. You can't support me because you too worried about me being over you in some type of way.
That's just weird to me in general. Because even when, let's just say, I was married and I was making more money than my husband, my promotion benefits our household.
Mhm.
that's what I said. I was like, are you like you act like you're not going to be benefiting from the funds I'm making from this because we are married. Like I'm putting everything into this household or whatever. But
Right.
because he couldn't do what he wanted to do, girl, we already been into that before.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it's just like they are so threatened by black women's success. And like you were saying, Aya, like you talk about, well, I can't do nothing for you and you don't ask. Like honestly, at the end of the day, if with all of our success and with all of our drive and ambition and everything that we can get ourselves, like if we're choosing to be with you, we're choosing to be with you because we want to be with you, not because we need you. How come you just can't see like, hey, look, this awesome woman got all of this going and she chooses to be with my dumb ass? Like I don't feel
Mhm.
worthy.
I have yet to understand why the terminology is, well, we want to be needed. Sir, I need you to consecutively keep a job. I
Listen, I
need
want
you.
one of them to answer that for me.
They never answer that. I need you to respect me the way that you're demanding respect. I need you not to abandon me while I'm at the most vulnerable carrying your child.
Because they don't know how, first of all, I could do a whole thing about emotional intelligence, but
Oh,
they're
please.
not emotional intelligence. So we already know that they're not going to connect or understand what you're saying right there. Like that's not what they can do. So I don't know, because I never got a good answer to what do you mean feel needed? Like I feel like when they describe it or when I hear them talk of like in arguments or something, this need comes up. Yeah, like we like to feel needed too as a woman. Yes, we do. We're nurturers by nature. We love to feel like, and it's our pleasure sometimes. Our
Right.
duty to our children, to those we love, to our friends, to our family, to do acts of service and be helpful to other people, because that's our nature. But for them, I don't know what they mean by feeling needed, because do you want me to coddle you? Do you want me to rub your back? Do you want me, like, what do you want me to do that's going to cross over in your mind as, oh, she need me? Or do you want me to depend on you?
They want the
That's what makes
dependent.
me feel needed.
They want us to depend on them, but then complain about providing.
Right. If you ain't got it, one of us gotta have it.
Somebody got to
Right?
have it.
I mean, get out your ego. I think that's really like this whole system and this hierarchy, this tiered thing. Like y'all have to, we the men, so we have to be up here, and y'all have to be. Obviously, um, y'all struggle with leadership, and I mean, if
Not
know,
leadership.
we can Google the qualities. If I was looking for a job and I wanted to be a CEO, it's gonna have certain qualities under there that I have to qualify for, and those qualities are similar to a leader. So if I was to Google the literal definition of what a leader or leadership skills is, most of y'all are not going to get the job. I can't hire you. Like
Correct.
y'all don't have it. So maybe perhaps you were never meant to actually be the leader. And that's okay. Like, I just want them to understand that that's okay. Like, society done fucked y'all up. Like, maybe y'all was never supposed to be the leader, because it's shown, and it showed decade after decade after decade that y'all have trouble in that area, whereas we don't. We are naturally that. So perhaps you can be useful in another way.
Well, even with that, they always use the king, lion king, or king of the jungle, or whatever. That the male lion is the head. And I was like, but have y'all ever watched lions out in the wild?
Right.
The
Right.
pride is all female,
Mm-hmm.
and the male is only there to protect the pride against another male trying to take over. So y'all are
Exactly.
not even doing that.
Mm-hmm.
He is there to procreate,
And
give them some
protect that
babies,
pride.
and protect the pride. So that means you are a soldier. That's what you need to be. And I think, you know what, when the females, if they decide that he's not doing his job, I think they kick him out, if I'm
I
not
think they
mistaken.
kick him out too.
They like ban him in like away from the pack. He can't come over here. And
I'm all for
if another lion come in and beat him, you out. Oh, you gotta go.
Yeah.
Get out.
exactly. I'm all for replacements in 2022.
Yeah.
Well, not even just that. If excuse me, y'all remember that video where they were asking the guys, would you cheat on your girl or snitch on your homeboy? And they were like, oh, cheat on my girl. Well,
Yeah.
apparently there was a bunch of girls who did it in reverse. And when I tell you the response, y'all want to know why chivalry is dead because of stuff like this. I said, but y'all started it.
Yeah, it's okay for y'all to.
You like, until y'all want to address the double standards and how y'all are sitting out here crying about you having a baby girl because you know that y'all are trash. Chill out.
They literally can't handle the same energy they dish out being put on them. Like they don't know what
Oh
the hell to
no.
do with themselves when that happens.
Okay, y'all. So let's move on to the women of the church, the Christian.
I
So we can get our Kim. Like, what is going on? Like,
don't know what's
Kim
wrong
is
with her.
mine. Kim, what is going on? Because I feel like she was just off the scene. Nobody was hearing anything about you, and then she just
Came out full blow, ready to
flipped
show
the
her
script.
ass.
She been showing her behind.
Again, I have never been raised in the church, and anything that I heard about Kim Burrell has always been negative.
They keep,
Like,
yeah. I mean, she always. I guess she always been. You know those negative churchy, those really judgy. She just a typical church lady to me. Like she's, you could tell she's like one of those super judgmental, snotty, nasty church ladies. Toting her Bible, she probably could quote scripture. You know, on the drop of a dime, she know her Bible, but she don't know how to be nice to nobody. She
She
don't know
the
how to be
one. She's the one that's never like not 100% aesthetically pleasing, but got the biggest mouth in the congregation.
She a mammy. She's the church mammy. She is like a typical church lady. Like she is definitely pro patriarchy. She's gonna ride for the boys.
Yeah, she's a
very
mean
much.
girl.
Yeah, she is a very mean girl. Like what she said, like Kim, and like I keep on hearing like she lost weight because I like you said I don't follow Kim either. Like she was over there and then all of a sudden she just came back and I'm like what? But they were saying ever since she lost that weight she got even meaner.
But what
So I'm like,
weight?
let me Google. So I Googled, and she did have a moment where I don't know what surgery she got done. She had a moment where she was like, remember when Oprah lost her weight? She had a moment where she was really skinny, but she not that no more. So that's still not no excuse.
There's still not no excuse. There's
Yeah.
still no excuse to
And
get on
then
a pulpit and be an asshole.
the apology.
Was fake.
She kept me. I was like, oh Lord Jesus. Kim took me out with that apology because she basically said I said what the hell I said.
Basically.
Are you talking about the first apology?
She did another one.
Yeah, she had two. She was
Oh,
like, it was one apology she did in writing, and then there was another one she did,
oh, on the
you know,
video.
when she was on camera.
I did see that on camera one. Oh God, they was both bad. Let me see if I can find Kim's apology. They was both horrible.
Huh?
Kim Burrell's apology gives off Lisa Ray vibes, where it's like, well, I said it the way I said it. Why can't you just accept that? Because the way you said it was trash, and you need to be held accountable for it. Well, if I did it and you felt some type of way, well, I'll apologize for you feeling some type of way. But you're not
You could
sorry
have
for
kept
what you
that.
said. If you feel some type of way, what you mean? If I'm
You
offended,
like it was the lack of accountability for me on that one.
right?
It's like if you offended someone, just say I'm sorry I offended you. It's not like if I did offend you, bitch, you did. Like what are
Did
you talking about? She, the whole thing. She's trash.
like not
Sorry.
even just that. On one of the TikToks, it said she made the comment about the PPP loans, but allegedly got one herself. And I
Yeah,
was
because she holier than thou. That she like she could do it, but y'all heathens can't do it. Like she is like I I can't. Kim is like she's a mean girl.
she just
She
it ain't.
she has internalized misogyny. She's an elitist. She
Mhm.
is all of the isms, is
All of
whatever, all of
But
them.
yeah, but
She
Kim
thinks that
Burrell,
people,
she is the I believe is the quintessential reason why a lot of people in our age range is turned off by the church and is turning more to spirituality than Christianity, because it's just the whole fake phony meanness of church women like her,
the
like
nice.
she the nice nasty. It's
Mhm.
all a pageantry.
Yeah.
yeah.
And they probably got hella church secrets and stuff.
Oh,
Kim
a ton of them.
Burrell, oh, she could write a I bet you her tell all would be so spicy because I'm pretty
Her
sure
tell all
a
would
lot
fly
can
off the
happen to this
digital
lady.
shelves. Her
Hmm.
tell all would fly off the digital shelves because see, people. The one thing that they fail to realize is it is always some mess in the church. Okay,
Yes.
now, I can't say if I tell too much details, people gonna know if when they hear this, they'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But let's just say there was a situation with a musician and a choir member,
Mhm.
and that choir member's child, and there was some things that occurred on a trip, and then when that musician did not respond the way the choir member wanted, then all of a sudden the people were called because of that person's involvement with the choir member's child.
Mm.
And I'm like, so y'all gonna act like she didn't know what was happening and ain't nobody gonna sit nobody down? I'm just wondering, because if that was me, I would have been sat down.
Yep.
I wouldn't have been able to be singing no food la la's or nothing.
Mm.
But y'all want to pretend? Okay, great. The church tell-alls is what's gonna sell every damn thing.
Child, because they actually stand up in the church. I'm telling. I know.
Mhm.
But let me okay, let me play her little. Oh, come on, delay.
She do too much for me.
Child, it will not. What is wrong with this computer?
Oh Lord, we might have to
Oh
get
no.
what in the world?
Just that alone, taking the responsibility with such a gift and such talent as a Kim Burrell. We all love her, but we are not going to tolerate anyone speaking to us any type of way. And that has to be adjusted with me or anyone else.
Is she meeting with a publicist?
Consultation with her and I. She has allowed me to point out what I have felt to be out of character and inappropriate. The best part about it, she's received every part of what I have shared.
Moving forward, will you be speaking at the church? And if so, what will be done differently?
I am submitted to the call that is on my life. So with engagement, someone's invitation or no, I am sure that I'll have to do this again because it is my calling to do. And my first consideration is from a conversation that me and Pastor had. And Pastor asked me, he said, have you considered that it's a possibility that you were irresponsible at any moment? And I said, yes, sir. I was. Because the result of what I got showed that I had to have been because it caused offense.
Well, we don't shoot our wounded soldiers. We nurse them. We provide covering for them. From what I could tell, there have been a lot of spiritual connections for Pastor Kim, but not spiritual covering as such. And so we wanted to surround her with the love of God concerning.
Now, here's my thing. First of all, you say you surround
That's
people and you
hilarious.
comfort them and things like that. Only except if you're gay.
Right.
Except if you're gay.
Right.
And I don't understand. This broad offended a lot of people. Why the fuck is we coddling her?
That part.
Because that's what they do. That's what they church folk just they gonna protect each other.
Like, yeah,
But
you
this one
guys were
saying that
offended.
was a
But
whole
think about
picnic
how she
moment.
feels when she made those ignorant statements. Like, child, bye. Shut up.
What kills me about that entire thing was see how different her tone was?
Mm-hmm.
Because that man was beside her.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? I
Yes.
spoke to Pastor, and Pastor to ask me, do I feel like I offended anybody? Kimberly, ma'am, that
And
ain't how you were saying
the pastor.
when you decided to call people ugly in the congregation and
She thought
ask them
it
how
was
long they been broke.
yeah. Oh,
Girl.
she knows she was all out of type. She knows she was all out of pocket. And how he came, the first thing he was saying was like, "Y'all not just gonna come at us any old type of way." Like what?
Sir, who are you?
I don't
I don't know this
understand.
man. Like yeah, I don't even know. I
Who
don't
are
recognize
you?
him.
Listen,
I just don't understand it. Like, I'm just so confused.
listen. I stand firm behind what I said to because my sister be trying to argue with me. My son loves church, and I don't stop him from going or whatever the case may be. But like the church up here that my sister and my niece and my hopefully soon to be nephew in law go to, I just don't like the first lady. And I've watched her speak, and with my aunt and uncle both having their doctorals in theology, and the pastor who raised me is over the United Holy Church. I don't just sit up under anybody's mess. And Kim Burrell is one of them people. Hey, you couldn't pay me to go sit up under her. There's not nothing that Kimberly Burrell could say to me that I couldn't go to my Aunt Helen and say, hey, can you sit down with me and go over this text and maybe better explain it to me? My whole life, even though I've grown up in the church, even when I've separated myself, I still had the outlets to go and say, hey, before my uncle passed, God rest his soul, say, hey, uncle, this is what's happening. This is like my real life. This is what's happening. Well, how do you advise? You know what I'm saying? Like, and it was non-judgmental conversations. Kim's tone was completely different with that man beside her. Kimberly Burrell is a prime example of these pick-me's that we be talking about.
Yep.
Because she didn't have no problem standing up there slew-footed and all with her glasses crooked talking about PPP loans and how long have you been broke when she got a PPP loan herself, allegedly.
No, exactly. Exactly, Amanda. Like, the overall question is like, should Black women divest from the church as a whole? My answer would be absolutely, because you're not going to get protection from the man. They're too busy being insecure about your accomplishments and what you have in your bank account, and then you have judgy bitches like Kim Burrell, worried about if you ugly or not, when she looked like she's about a Snickers bar away from being back to the way she was. Want to talk about somebody being ugly instead of worried about somebody else's PPP loan? She need to worry about her glass ankles.
That too.
I want to know who the fuck, but who was Kim talking to? Kim.
Who was she talking to? That's the question we need to answer to. Who was she talking to?
You have a Black woman has no protection, no nothing when it comes to being in the church. I don't see how having them as spiritual guidance is I don't see how beneficial it is having people like them, because we all know a Kim Burrell type in the Black church. Right. I don't see how beneficial it is for us being in there, being a part of that culture and everything. Like, no, that's why I don't participate in it. I'll be a heathen. Hell's gonna be lit anyway.
Not even being a heathen. Not even being a heathen. I specifically remember this woman who was a church member at the church I was raised at. And I never really cared for her or whatever, but I wasn't disrespectful. At the time I was a child. I wasn't disrespectful. But as I got older, I was just like, so y'all all knew that she was treating her husband like this and running her mouth and talking trash about everybody on the usher board, but then y'all still let her run around the church like she holier than everybody else? Why is it that certain people within the church can never be sat down when they out of line? Kim should have been sat down.
All the way.
You're doing too much, sis. And I think it was I didn't watch the whole thing.
Sat down on a plastic lawn chair.
Funky Dineva was just like, why is she allowed to be a tyrant in the black church community? Why is it okay for Kim Burrell to do it?
And you in your own congregation, like the disrespect.
Right. But why is it okay for Kim Burrell to be a tyrant, mean girl bully? But then you got TD Jakes over here talking about aggressive and mean and da. And y'all are contradicting yourselves from the pulpit.
Mm-hmm.
Raising our women to be. What did you call what Kim Burrell did?
I don't know what she did. It was a whole damn mess.
All right, y'all want to get her singing "Break My Soul"? Let's see.
Oh Jesus!
Oh no, child!
Oh Jesus! How bad is it?
Child, if this work. She looked low. She looked broke down.
What the hell she got on?
Girl, you know she's been getting her rights and she took up all age.
What the fuck is I'm sorry. Let me not get your YouTube, man. What is that?
Kim was down and out. I think she had on one of those, like, those dancing things they be wearing. I don't know, the dance team. It looked like I don't know what she was doing.
It
I
looked like
don't.
$12.99 bed sheets at Target.
I don't know what Kim was up there doing, but y'all
Being
not gonna break
horrible
Again, she need to go ahead and sit down on a plastic lawn chair somewhere on the grass.
and stay there. Don't move. We'll pack you a picnic basket. Don't
No,
move.
I can't stand. Kimberell is, you know me, Amanda. I can't stand a damn pick me, and she just
She is the epitome of it.
she,
Well, she the church one.
all church women around that age range gives me pick
Yeah.
me. On to be honest,
A
you know,
lot of
like
them.
my mother's one. So
So is mine.
she's
So
not
is
gonna say
mine.
this, so I can say it.
I just don't. I don't. It is beyond me to try to understand why we should be following women like Kim Burrell.
We shouldn't.
Well, we know that, but I'm just saying, like in hindsight, it's just it's very weird to me. It makes me sometimes forcing certain things, especially on young impressionable minds, set them up for failure. There's one individual that I know is quite young but is now very heavily deeply enrooted in the church, and my concern about this particular individual is that I pray that nothing happens
Mm-hmm.
where this person ever has to question what they believe in their faith currently. But we also know that life situations happen, and you have to sit with yourself sometimes to figure out some things. And when you're already indoctrinated in this like deep religious sense of whatever, when life really hits you and your religion's not giving you the answer for what you need, how
Mm-hmm.
you got to be able to figure out for yourself how you gonna move. So like as much as my son loves church, I don't stop him from going if he wants to go.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also, I've watched friends of mine who've had children that are older than my child who have like left the doorway open for their children to learn and be educated about different things and come to their own opinion on certain things. And I want to take some of that knowledge from other mothers who've done it longer than me, and try to implement that and adjust how it works best for my child. I just don't think that forcing organized religion on young impressionable minds so early is ideal. I feels like it's setting them up.
Mm-mm. I'm me personally. I never subscribed to any religion that justified the enslavement of my people, of Black people. I just never, if we really think about it, it was nothing. It was Christianity was used as a tool to like strip us of our own spirituality
That's
during slavery. So it's like I don't subscribe to it. Period. And as far as my child, if she expressed an interest in me, to me that's the route that she wants to go. I will let her. She's free to explore whatever she wants to explore, but I'm not going to put it in my child's face.
Yeah, that's my same sentiments also. Like I grew up a Seventh Day Adventist, so we used to go to church every Saturday. Um, but then once I started digging into stuff myself and researching different religious texts, I done read like a lot of different religious books, and then start looking up like how similar Jesus and God is to other deities and stuff like that. And then the last part of it was what you said, Miss Petty, is knowing that they use this as a tool to enslave us and keep us in line by
right.
using and quoting certain scriptures to make sure they kept the slaves in line. And it's like that still kind of rings true today. Is like the Black church, they, whenever these politicians need something done, they get endorsed by some Black church. Trump, Black
Every time.
at the Black, they get endorsed by a Black church. They'll go over to the church community real
Democrats
quick.
do it too.
Yep.
Yeah, They all run over to the church community quick to get endorsements, and I don't like that. And I don't like how they're so blindly follow, and they'll do it.
Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
he's gonna vote
I
for this.
believe at one point in time, the church did serve a purpose in in the black community, especially during the civil rights movement and things like that. So I believe it did have a purpose in that. But I think what really kind of fucked the game up is when you get all these prosperity. I'm not doing I can't say the word right, but all of these preachers like a Creflo Dollar or
Mhm.
people like that, the prosperity preachers, there you go, coming in, it's like, well, you are not living the way of the Lord if you are not accumulating or money, and you don't have money, you don't have this. I think that's what really kind of fucked up the game.
And let me say this, and people laughed at me when I told them they should have paid attention when Greenleaf was on. There is a lot of money.
Yes.
There's a lot of money circling through these churches, and that non-tax exemption was
Mm,
also put in place to be able to use religion as a tool to help guide people's weak, feeble, sheep-like minds when it came down to politics. There's a
yeah,
lot of money being funded to some of them politicians. I don't want to see the money that we can see. I want a forensic financial advisor to tell me where the dirty money coming from.
right. And then sadly, not only do we know that the whites, they use this religion to kind of control and still manipulate black people, black church folk, but then you
Yeah.
have these pastors doing the same thing. Like,
Yep.
y'all are so invested in Christianity in this church community, even though it's a lot of messiness and drama within that community,
Well, not just
that
not
y'all
just
could just sit there and back and cover these filthy pastors that's getting away. Creflo robbing his church blind, buying jets. You got
right.
Mason. If Mace can go and be a pastor, and now he back at it again, trying to be in the rap game. I just seen him on TikTok with some
With
platinum.
some fronts. I
Yes,
saw that.
like, ain't you a pastor now? Like, pick a side. Like, y'all are following false prophets. Like, they are
Exactly.
even taking
Yep.
advantage of their own community because y'all mind is so, like, you're willfully ignorant at this point to me, because
Yep.
I don't understand it either, how especially now we still have so many black Christians. I don't get it. I don't understand it.
I mean, we
I,
still have them, but I think, with, Gen Z, coming of age, and then there's some millennials, like, it's not popping like it once was. I think people are getting more hip and wise to the scam that these prosperity churches are doing. And then
Mm,
I saw something the other day on YouTube or something where Creflo Dollar was, denouncing his prosperity preachings and all of his teachings, and like saying that it was the wrong way to go. And and I couldn't help but think, like, I think you're kind of full of shit. Like, now that you made your money and everything after all these years, and you got the private jet from the poor people and stuff like that, you now say that, oh, this was probably
mm,
not the right way to go about things. Your apology don't mean shit without action. Are you going to invest all of that money that you scammed all those people out of into, poor, impoverished communities? But we're not talking about that. You just like, oh, well, I'm sorry, I kind of scammed you out of the money because it was the wrong kind of way to teach you, but I'll do better next time. No, fuck all
right.
that.
Right. And then there's questions like, well, why did y'all leave the church? I know for a fact in my personal life, I can say wholeheartedly, the man who I was raised under was not my problem. It was the people within the congregation that was put in positions to
mm,
lead and quote unquote educate the children. And I never even felt safe in having certain discussions with people because I knew my business was gonna go bad.
mm,
As soon as puberty hit for me, yep, she doing something. Yeah, and the entire time I'm being essayed, and nobody's there to protect me. So I
mm,
had to
Mhm.
step back because there were certain things, like for me, there's certain people I just will not disrespect. And so out of respect of like watching my mouth, I stepped back, I realized what worked for me, and I did that, and I still respect who I respect, but I move in the manner that fits best for what my needs are.
Yeah. Right.
You know me, I don't give a damn about disrespecting anybody. I'll call spade a spade.
Uh-huh.
I know.
I
My
just look the
grandmama
church is a hot mess. That's what turned me off. They are the most judged, especially some Christians. They are the most judgmental group of people. You
Yep.
will find the biggest hypocrites there. They talk about everybody. I used to go to church with my grandmother when I was little. She always would come and get me every Sunday. I would go to church with her, and then we would go to a buffet. That was our Sunday thing to do.
Yep.
We're sitting there with her.
Go to
She
corral.
was like Miss Kim. She was just like Kim Burrell. She would talk about every person that walked through that dang door. I would just be
you ain't got my grandma
as a kid. I would just be sitting there, just shaking my head, like, "Oh my gosh, she be talking." And then as soon as they come to, "Hi, how you doing, Miss?"
Hey,
sugar.
sugar.
Hey,
It's
And
so
that was
good
my
to see you
grandma,
on
like,
this Sunday morning.
Lord Jesus,
I'm
it's
blessed.
like
Yes.
And highly
her
favored.
dog.
Okay, you have a good day too, sister.
You have a good day. And then as soon as they walk out, girl, you know she get that dress out of catalog, right?
Yes,
I heard she not doing too good. She dressing out of Kmart.
Yeah, that was her. Bless her heart, and
Bless her heart.
That was her. That was my grandma. Until
That was my grandma too.
Yeah,
that was literally my grandmother, and that's what always kind of turned me off about religion.
Yeah.
Because how are you going to sit there and praise the Lord and everything like that, but you protect the predator, your husband?
That part. Because if we touch on that, we're gonna be stepping on some toes. Trust me.
So you're watching a lot of stuff that was going on behind the church doors. That definitely, it just turned me off, and I was just like, And I was like one of those smart aleck kids that would always ask questions that I felt like y'all not giving me like solid enough. I need like evidence that this person existed and that this really happened, and then like I think they would get frustrated and stuff.
They
Like
would have faith. How dare you ask questions?
You're supposed to just have faith, and that just was never good enough for me.
Agree.
Me neither.
Have faith. Like, yeah, no, we not.
I don't want to get into that about how the church likes to protect predators. Because they do.
Yeah. Okay, so let's move on to this ashy Brooklyn pastor.
Speaking of predators, because he's
speaking of predators. Oh my God! Speaking of predators,
this is the one I was waiting on.
Me too. Me too. I watched all 47 minutes. Me too.
Oh, you watched it?
Yeah, I watched the link you sent us about this particular topic.
Where is it?
This took me out of this one. I don't even know you. All right, I don't even know you. You're trying to include yourself into this. You need to go and get some weight loss if you want to get sir, yes, sir. If you want to see and laugh about what happened in my church when we got armed robbed, you're fat. That's what you are. You're a fat slob. I don't know you. All right. We can really get like this, all right? You're not gonna laugh at the situation where a gun was pointed at my baby. Where a gun was pointed at. I listened to it. I listened to it, all right? I listened to it. So I don't even know you. Number one, I don't know you. I don't know. Don't give me no props and laugh at me at the same time. Don't give me no props and laugh at me at the same time. Yeah, let's go there. Let's go there. Let's go there. Let's go there, Biggie. Let's go there, Biggie. Let's go there, Biggie.
You're a liar.
I'm a liar. Let's go. How am I lying, Biggie? Biggie big, not Biggie Smalls, but you're Biggie big.
You are quote unquote
all right.
a bishop in the Lord's church.
That's right.
You have seen my face on your timeline before, and if you say you haven't, you're a liar.
I don't know you. I don't know you. I don't know you. I do not know you. I do not know you.
Child.
It's the he can't control his own emotions, so the first he did was attack a black woman. For me.
Yeah, because when you don't have an intelligent argument, that's the first thing you do is just go ahead and attack somebody's weight. Like she ain't heard all that shit before. And I just liked how she was literally unfazed by all that shit. I'm so glad that she wasn't. Let me say something on this. because I've been waiting all week to say this. If you were wearing gold chains and jewelry worth $400,000 and you are preaching in a church that is in low income neighborhoods, them people who robbed you did exactly what they were supposed to do.
What?
I had to sit up on that one. Now, friend, how you walking around with $1 million worth of jewelry with no security? However, Kim Kardashian couldn't walk down the red carpet at the Met Gala in Marilyn Monroe's dress without security. Sir, you a whole scammer, and you mad that ain't nobody believing your shit. That's what that is.
Right. He went on every hobo press tour. He done went to everybody that would have him, pleading his case.
If you innocent,
we
why
can have him on Thursday talking about it.
He probably would come over there too. I'm glad y'all invited me up to your platform.
He probably would. First of all, I want to give honor to God for having me here tonight.
No, he deserved that shit.
He deserved
that robbery. Like I don't weep no tears for this man and his family getting robbed in the church. They did exactly what they were supposed to do.
We all watched the video. I still don't believe that it was what it was. I still believe that it was a setup. And my biggest fear, well, not my biggest fear, my biggest concern is how he's been able to navigate thus far, even with his past. Even with his past of being a scam artiste.
Yes.
Okay? You still have been able to do what you're doing. And one of the old church members was like, he don't even own the building that the church is in. So, Pastor, why don't you own the building? But you telling everybody you own the block.
He said he owned the whole block.
It was
a setup because it just didn't look right, and the camera that's awfully suspicious, that angle, and that you just so happen to be just out of the frame while they were robbing you from all this jewelry. That other guy, he is just sitting over there, just not.
Yeah.
Everything just looked funny. I think it was a setup.
The guy that never moved had to keep eyes on the room. That's what that was. And let me be honest. Watching it was low-key kind of triggering for me because I worked in a situation where I was robbed at gunpoint. And you can see on all the cameras, you can even see where I tried to push the emergency button, but there was no audio. And the guys who had the guns in my face was like, don't press the button. We know it's there. So clearly y'all have been in the vicinity. And all you see is my hands are up. I opened the safe like they said. I stepped back. You know what I'm saying? I let them do what they wanted. They asked me about the back door. I said, I'm not the manager. I don't have the key to that. Which was the truth. And we got them on all cameras. And as soon as you see, as soon as I was safe to move, I went and grabbed my phones, calling 911, hitting emergency buttons and everything. So, like, in that time and fashion, if you were really concerned, who moved the camera?
Right, because it looked like that camera didn't look like it was a live stream. It looked like it was in somebody's hands, and they was recording, and then they stopped.
That they had a tripod already in there,
and like
ready to move it.
I think Petty said it like, this just goes to show the lack of discernment that church people have, that anybody have, because they want to believe in you so badly. I think somebody was saying, like, when people, my boyfriend was telling me, he's like, when people got money or can show you they make money, they can make money. They, for some reason, that just means they're trustworthy. Not. Like, this is a whole, he just got out of jail.
How did he even become, what credentials
did he become ordained?
Oh my God!
What anybody can become a minister? Like, it's.
And then all these celebrities from New York are backing him, which that's suspect. Because then in this little video, I baptized 50 Cent. First of all, 50 boy, go get somewhere. 50 Cent is over there on his damn Instagram right now trolling somebody. Like, he is not
trolling somebody.
He's not baptized by the least. He doesn't act like a Christian that's been baptized. And he's like, I baptized Tekashi. And And I
listen, when I saw him with Tikashaki 369, I was like, I ain't trusting nothing you got to say, because Tikashaki is snitching Seg himself, okay? I know you over there with Takashi. Hell no, I ain't listening.
And I just seen a poster and it had Bobby on it endorsing him to run for this mayor of Brooklyn. Well, president of Brooklyn.
President of Brooklyn. And
I was like, they gotta be getting something out of it. It gotta be something like they giving him money or he giving. I don't know, because something is suspect. Y'all know this Pastor Janky.
I feel like
as soon as I seen him with teriyaki number 69 combination plate, I knew something was wrong. I knew he wasn't legitimate.
Friend, we getting good at these names.
Oh God.
This is what's gonna happen. If I had to take a prediction, if the mayor does not step his ass out of this, eventually you will hear a report saying that he resigned from his position, and it'll come out 6 months after he resigned about why, because he's too connected with this scam artist. He's gonna ruin his mayoral career trying to be friends with a scam artist. It goes back to how some of them have more loyalty to their homeboys than to their own best interest.
Right.
Watch it. If it come up that man got to step down from his position, rolling with the homies with the gold chains. What's the man name? What's the man name we talking about?
Whitehead. Lamar.
LaQuantas.
Lamar Whitehead.
LaQuantas Blackhead is gonna get him in trouble. Okay.
Yeah, them pictures look. I mean, it's suspect that the mayor is besties. I mean, y'all probably it's cool. Y'all from the same area, so y'all probably grew up together or whatever. But at a certain point, I gotta kind of disconnect myself from this social.
Divest before
I am a mayor,
I'm doing.
And you are a scammer. Like, I do not know you. Like, that's it. But I'm seeing them in pictures, wearing matching polo shirts, being happy and stuff. I'm pretty sure it's a scammer too.
That's why I can't understand why that lady gave this man her whole life savings. Why would you do something so? Y'all put so much faith into these pastors,
into a man,
and this man is a whole goddamn scam artist.
But listen, God didn't tell nobody to be no fool.
So protect the children and fools.
Well, that's the wrong fool, okay? Because there's no way I would have handed over $90,000 and agreed to take $100 a month, and I'm living off my life savings. I wouldn't be like, hey, bring me some pictures of some properties, and we'll go from there.
Yeah. Or why don't you be there when he's making these transactions so you can see your money being used if you have to give it to him? Like, you didn't have any other families that will buy a house for you with their credit?
And that's what I didn't understand about the credit, because she said her credit was bad or whatever. You had $90K, so you couldn't pay to fix your credit?
You couldn't pay the down payment?
And just wait a little while for it to kick in, of course, get your credit score back up, and then go get a house? I didn't understand. But
none of that made sense to me neither.
I don't know.
That dynamic never made sense to me either.
You feel that comfortable giving somebody that large amount? Ain't no way.
I'm sorry. She sound like one of them 90-Day Fiance people. And I'm just trying to find out who want to donate to the United Negro Amanda Fund, since everybody, they floating around money like $90,000. Like, that's crazy to me.
He's still
like letting people hold $20 in mine. Like,
that's true.
And the wife ain't no better.
So what ended up happening with the wife?
Nothing. She mind her. The wife ain't saying nothing. You see how he just talked to her? The wife is probably not saying not a darn thing. She just sitting back collecting checks. Right along with him.
She better
got $400,000 worth of jewelry, but they can't buy her a better looking wig.
Listen, the wife better figure out her exit plan before she end up like
being incriminated.
No, before she end up like Julie Christie. Todd and Julie Christie up in the federal court.
believe.
And Julie, they projecting that Julie gonna get more time than Todd. Y'all better stop. Yes.
I can't believe.
Look, side note, they done got Grandma Faye name on paperwork. She didn't even know what she signing. And apparently outside of Todd's little side indiscretions with the man that snitched on them, Judy was the ringleader.
Oh,
Julie Christie, Todd and Julie Christie from Chrisley Knows Best.
oh, Judy was the ringleader?
Julie is projected to get like 10 more years longer than Todd.
Well, shoot.
Right. So that's why I'm saying some of them talking about, oh, that's my man, and I'm gonna stick beside him, girl.
You're gonna be sticking beside him right in the next door jailhouse.
You better be like Tina. I don't want you no more. You got to go. You're willing to compromise your own best interest for what? I keep telling you,
status.
no, and that's what I'm saying. The money and the false sense of power got y'all out here acting like y'all was the masses' favorite colored person.
Yeah, this pack. Oh, they are a mess. They are a mess.
It's weird to me. Like I want some notoriety, but not at the expense of my good common sense.
All right, y'all. So I think I'm gonna play this one last video for us to end it on, and we're gonna get back to this TD Jakes.
Okay.
Because I did like what this guy had to say about it. I don't know if you could have possibly sent it to me, or
I'm always sending you something.
I know you always be sending me stuff, but you know what? That's a good thing because I don't be in the loop at times. So no.
Yeah. Shout out to Big Sleepy in the chat.
Not Big Sleepy in the chat.
Yeah.
Hold on. I didn't even see all that. And he got the nerve, the audacity.
To bring his higher ass over here.
Right. Gonna put some peppers in the chat. We got you, Big Sleepy.
Let me see. Okay, it's this one.
The chat been a little spicy the last couple of days.
Why is it the responsibility of women to shrink themselves in order to make space for men?
I'm probably gonna lose some followers.
First of all, I've seen him before.
Wrights and Sunny Day Jones. They both gave really good breakdowns of the TD Jakes sermon. I highly suggest you go watch them. Sunny Day Jones hit on a point that I was really waiting on somebody to bring up. And it's that time or that era, especially in Black church, where purity culture was everything. This is basically where young teenage boys were taught to wait till marriage. This is where young teenage boys were basically taught to wait till marriage. Everything was about resisting temptation, resisting the urge. Put yourself in a position to be tempted. Hold on. The biggest foundational piece of the purity message for the boys, it was wait until marriage and resist temptation. Rarely was it about how to be a husband, how to love your wife, how to be a supportive husband. It was hyper-focused on abstinence for the boys in it. And the biggest message for the girls was to wait for everything. Period. Wait. You got to wait for the man to come get you. Then you got to wait till marriage. Oh, and you got to submit. Submit. Can't forget submission. They made sure not to forget submission. What most of the church doesn't even realize is that from that time, from that era till now, there has been a major shift in the way that women have been and are being perceived in every way. From that time to now, women have walked themselves into higher positions of power and value without men. You know why? Because they waited and waited and waited some more. While they waited, they got degrees. While they waited, they climbed the corporate ladder. While they waited, they found independence. While they waited, they enhanced and advanced. And we have a problem with that. Our male ego is supposed to be bruised from that. There's no space for me to be a man because she can pay her own bills if she wanted to. That's the problem, because we've only placed certain elements inside of masculinity, such as being the breadwinner, paying bills, paying the mortgage or rent, providing and protecting physically. For some reason, we as men don't think that the emotional elements is our responsibility as a man. We don't see that as part of the man's job. We don't see that as masculine. We don't place that on the same level of paying bills. We don't place that on the same level of breadwinning. For some reason, everything else falls under that, which is why a lot of y'all men find yourselves in a measuring contest with your woman, because you want her to dim her light just so you can be brighter than her. You that sometimes men need to be carried, men need to be cared for, men need to be loved, men need an emotional connection as well, but y'all don't see that as masculine. Y'all don't see that as manly. Y'all see those as feminine traits. That's why we as men are lacking in emotional intelligence. Relationships and marriage are partnerships, not dictatorships. I understand that the church feels that there should be an order for things, a hierarchy, if you will. Say what you want to, but my wife and I, we walk side by side, hand in hand. I got her back and she got mine. It's not a woman's job to make space for a man to be a man. It's the man's job to be the man that the woman needs him to be. Period. Love y'all.
And he said what he said.
Yes, I thought that was such like he hit everything that that was a good one.
So here's the
And
thing,
that
though.
is the biggest thing, the lack of emotional intelligence when it
Mm-hmm.
comes to our men. Like, stop trying to play into this patriarchal like bullshit of like you got to be the submissive one and then I got to be the dominant one, because
Right.
if you want to think about it, if you want to be that dominant one and you want to be that person and you want your partner's submission, that means you need to do everything.
You need to
Right.
provide a
You
safe
need to
space
you
for her
need
to
to
be
be that
secure.
provider. You need to provide for the whole entire house. I don't need to carry any single load on my back. Oh no, that's not what you want. Okay, then we're not understand that we as women are not trying to fucking compete with you. We just want to be respected as the partners that we are to you.
Yeah.
And let's do one even better. He said a profound statement where
Mm-hmm.
it's like, y'all don't feel like being emotional is important in your partnership. But Aya, we talked about this last week. They can be partners with their homeboys.
Yeah.
And so if you have the capacity enough to sit there and talk to Jaquan and Gerald and be vulnerable with them, but then look at your woman and be like, ugh, this be. But you still want to hunch on her whenever you want. But you
Mm-hmm.
can't give her that emotional comfort to be able to be feminine, like what y'all are demanding women
Crying
to
for.
do. What do you expect? Oh, well, and protecting and providing, but a lot of them aren't doing that either.
Yeah.
You're not even taking care of the children.
Nope.
They would get. I truly have always felt like you would get more responses from the women within our community if you step up and take care of your damn kids. You
Mm-hmm.
take care of your kids, and then
That's a
hold your
huge stress
homeboys
that would be
accountable.
taken off of our back. Yeah, that's hell
And
And
then
if
hold your
you're
homeboy accountable because you know that Jaquan ain't seen little Day Day in a year.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
You done seen little Day Day before his daddy have. But you still going to the club with him. Y'all still planning guys weekend July 4th. Y'all still going over to Big Mama's for a plate on Thanksgiving. And you ain't checked that man about why he ain't went to go see his son.
and you help organize your homeboys cheat on their current girls instead of saying,
That
"No,
part.
dude, why do that?" You don't ever hold men accountable to that shit. But then you also you always want to talk about how women are never held accountable. We are
We're
always
We're
always
held
held
always
accountable.
accountable.
held
We can't
accountable.
just
Yes.
up and leave our child. Like I remember, so you know what happened to me like last week. I'm not even gonna get into that. But I asked, my ex-husband to stay to kind of like, because I feel uneasy being in the house by myself.
Mm-hmm.
And then he was like, "Oh well, I gotta go to my girlfriend's. I gotta go to my girlfriend's," and stuff like that. I kind of just lost where I was going, but
No,
my
no,
point.
no. I know. We talked about this already. Long story short, she was telling her ex-husband, like, hey, could you please stay because I've not been able to rest since the situation incident occurred, and I feel safer or I feel more secure in my home if you stay here to ensure that me and our daughter is safe. And he said, oh well, I got to get out of here. I got to go to my girlfriend's house. Blah 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 blah. Again, putting her in the position to feel unprotected, even
Right.
in
So,
that, huh?
yeah, that still blows my mind. Go ahead.
Even in that moment, it was your needs was more important than securing
Mm-hmm.
your family dynamic, because divorce or non-divorce, y'all are still gonna be family because y'all share a child.
Right.
And that's what I'm saying, where it's like, oh, we can't even, as men, we can't even be emotional. But are y'all making those safe spaces for yourselves instead of blaming us.
And he was just saying, I just got to get out of this house. I just got to get out of this house. And I'm like, well, how fucking convenient is it for you? How cool is it that you get to just leave the responsibility whenever you fucking feel like it? But meanwhile, I have to sit here. I still have to be a mother to her. I still have to cook the dinner, do her hair, clean the house,
and
go to
deal with
work
your trauma.
on top of coping with what happened to me.
Well, dealing with your trauma, your recent trauma.
And if anything, you would have thought that the instinct would have kicked in to, at the least, protect your child.
Protect.
Make sure.
And that was my whole point. Like, forget me. If you don't feel like you're obligated to me because we're getting a divorce, fine. I get that. But why leave our child in the lurch? Don't sit here and tell me that you care for our daughter when the first thing that you were thinking about was going to go stick your thing in another woman.
I had to catch you. We on YouTube. They'll shut the shit down.
I know. I caught myself.
Yeah, that is just trifling. That's just really, really unfortunate, and that's sad. That's wild, and a lot of them are like that. So it's like you want us to be in this feminine position and stuff, and want us to rest there, and y'all need to be more feminine. Why? But y'all know exactly. But what blows my mind is that y'all know exactly why Black women are not as like whatever their view of, for one, of what femininity is anyways, is flawed, but nonetheless, y'all want us to be these feminine creatures, and y'all know exactly why we can't be,
right?
Because you are not masculine enough. And if we sit here and break down, once again, Google will be your best friend. I always tell people to listen, use your Googles. I don't know who came up with that. Use your Googles, because y'all need to. Because if you Googled what masculine energy is, once again, a lot of y'all would fail under those things that says this is what masculine. And then this is by all means, we all have both of these energies, but y'all would fail because y'all don't match that vibe. A lot of y'all are lazy. Being lazy isn't masculine. That shows that you have a lack of masculine energy. Y'all that have no direction in your life, y'all that are scared to make decisions, y'all that lack confidence, y'all, like a lot of these things, y'all that are not driven and goal oriented. A man is supposed to want to compete with the boys. So y'all who don't want to go out there, put yourself in position, go out there and compete, go out there and get it from the fucking mud, do something constructive, build something. All of that is masculine energy. And the fact that you lack it, that shows that you don't have enough. And the fact that we have more of this in these qualities in us, and you're upset.
Well, not even that. They're competing with us in their mind instead of competing amongst each other.
Yeah, then it's the mind F that he was saying, in his video. I forgot the point that you was making, that he said that emotional intelligence stuff, and that gets to them. Like, y'all just don't want to be emotional. And I really think that goes into them living up to this false ideal of what they think a man should be. And that comes from way back. But y'all living up to this view of what y'all think. We got to be hard, and I can't show my emotions to her, and she's going to.
Well, that's your choice.
And then you're mad at me for not responding to that well.
Like the way my husband would put it, he would just says, I can never be myself around you. I can never be, I show my emotions around you because I think you're just going to use it against me. It's like, well, Dillian, you never poured much into me, so I don't have nothing to give you.
Well, let's do one better. If he felt that way, why did he get married? If he felt like, truthfully, because we're not going to break down your whole marital history.
Yeah.
If you felt that way, truthfully, deep in your heart, why did he marry you? Because at the end of the day, the role of, if we want to go based on masculine and feminine or whatever the case may be, you laid in your masculine energy because you had to make sure that your household was provided for. And so for the rebuttal to be, well, I could never tell you how I feel because I felt like he was going to use it against me. But you had dominoes and dominoes and dominoes falling every chance you get with no support of the person who was supposed to be your partner and your helpmate, not your burden. But then they don't see that, and then when you are reactive, then it's, I can't deal with it, I just gotta go. Why is it? Who set the precedent to make it so easy for them all to just walk away?
Yeah, that's exactly.
And never deal with their stuff.
That's why I said when things get tough, he go running. Like he can't deal with the conflict, he goes. So it's just like if you don't have it in you and you feel like you can't do that, go get some therapy, love. Like
Oh, please don't say
go
therapy. That's
self
triggering.
improve yourself.
That's triggering. You didn't hear? You
Yeah,
didn't
they
hear on
don't like
you
that.
didn't hear on the TikTok streets that when we tell them that they need to go to therapy, they feel like we're insulting them and we're gaslighting them and we're just being contradictory by telling them to go actually seek help. It was a whole video on it. Y'all throw up therapy, but as a way to try to down us. No, we throw up therapy because y'all need to get some of
I mean,
y'all shit worked
perhaps
out with somebody that's getting paid per hour
yeah,
for y'all stuff.
did you ever think that maybe you could use it? I mean, if you're not venting to me and not vulnerable to me, and I mean, I think that you and your homies is having these deep
They
conversations.
not.
So
No,
who are you releasing anything to? I mean, y'all could use it. Go to therapy.
They take
it
that
works.
statement as an insult. When we say go to therapy, they take that statement as an insult. That we are
Child.
trying to antagonize them
Yeah,
and
some
make
people.
them think that we're better than them. That was what the TikTok street said.
Well, we all know the TikTok streets need to be repaved.
Girl, who you telling?
Oh my God, repaved. No, but that's not a lie though. I agree.
The larger content creators is going through it again. So yes, it need to
It
be
is.
Girl,
Like,
repaved.
I
I
don't
don't know what the hell is
understand.
always something on that app. I just was like, what? I'm trying to
Listen,
follow it. I'm lost, but
I try to follow it, and I was watching a little bit today, but I was like, you know what? I'm far too emotional. I'm about to protect my peace, and I'm about to turn this shit off. But I was gonna say something today in our group chat today. But is it me or it's like all of these like larger content creators on TikTok are just super egotistical?
they are losing it. Something else is going on.
oh yeah. Before we talk about the TikTok streets, let's do the takeaway for today because they ain't gonna know what we talking about. The takeaway for today. My takeaway here is I guess it would depend on which way you're seeing this. I did see in one of those comments on the video, and they were saying if you're looking at it from a stand like an old view standpoint, then what he's saying would fall in line and is correct, blah blah blah. So I guess I'm gonna say depending on how you're viewing it, what part of this side, what part of this you're on. If you're a Christian going woman, you're in the church, that's great for you. I have nothing against people who choose a religion to follow. Or if you're not and you are a female who just is into her own spirituality and you're just doing your own thing. I just feel like at the end of the day, we have been down for so long, and to have someone to see these men getting all in a tizzy because we are now able to have a voice and speak up, and they're not used to nor are they comfortable with us sitting here sharing our experiences, especially now that we're in the world of social media and our experiences can go viral, and then you can share with other people who can also say, hey, validate I've had that same experience. So y'all don't like us swapping stories when it comes to men and
Right.
starting to realize and wake up to a lot of things when it comes to men. Um, and I just find that disheartening. But I want to tell women that, listen, you should want to have your own autonomy and you should want to be able to go out there and get things for yourself and create things for yourself and have your dreams and your goals and be as accomplished as you want to, and you're still going to find someone, hopefully you do find someone that will appreciate that and that will love you for that and not try to dim your light.
So I guess. Oh, are we all giving our own takeaways or?
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
Okay, so I guess my takeaway is to stop seeking spiritual refuge in the traditional Christian church because it's not built for the modern day woman or the free thinking woman that has the kind of mindset that we have. Christianity, I believe, are just like tools, and the Bible are just like tools and stories to help guide you through this life, and you can interpret it however you need to interpret it to help you cope with whatever situation you're going through. You can revamp Christianity in your own way that suits your benefit, and stay out of the church, like stay out of the traditional Christian churches.
So, my takeaway from this is we as women, especially Black women, need to start building our own community amongst ourselves. Um, whatever religion you choose to live, or whatever religion best suits the path that you feel like you need to take, do that. And then build a community around you that will support you through the hard times and rough times. Because what I see with the way that these things are unfolding themselves is that it's going to get worse before it gets better. And we're all going to have to be able to support each other, because women, unfortunately, our body autonomy is under attack. Us being able to make decisions for ourselves is under attack. Held within the Black community, our own men are attacking us in some instances. And so we need to be able to seek the therapy, seek whatever spiritual guidance we feel, or spiritual support we feel like we need, and then be able to find refuge amongst each other, to be able to say, hey, things is getting rough, but let's sit down, let's share a meal, let's bring the kids together for play dates, or whatever the case may be, and be able to fellowship amongst ourselves, regardless of what the religion may be, but do it in the spirits of being a support system for ourselves. Because after all of this, yes, the older pastors are in a certain mindset, and that mindset is never going to change, but we need to start preparing ourselves for a switch, because that's what's happening. Is unfolding right in front of us, and we need to be able to be mentally and emotionally prepared for it.
Amen.
Definitely, I agree. All right, you guys, this has been another show. I or we or me will be back today with another podcast. Thank you for tuning in.
Thank you, guys. Y'all have a
Thank
good
you.
night.